Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode we had our first official draft, and I'd say it was an okay draft, all things considered. Obviously we don't know how it's going to play out during the season, but our team is ready to go for year number 2, and I'm kind of relatively excited. I think this year we maybe could get ourselves our first victory, but obviously it's going to still take a lot of work from here on out to win multiple games probably. But you can see this is what our team is looking like going into the season, as we drafted this Noonan guy who's a low 6. He's not necessarily the best prospect in the world, but he has some okay shooting categories, so I think this guy might be able to do something okay in his first season, considering he's playing with Stelwitz. And we also have Jamison Bogosian, who I think is going to actually have a pretty solid season, just because he's got actually really good passing stats. 75 is really decent, and he's going to be playing against with Stelwitz as well. So I think he should be a pretty good setup guy next to Stelwitz. We basically split up our first round picks. So Kari Ristolainen, who we drafted in the first round, we are playing him as the second line center at the moment, just so the power forwards are on different lines. I think that would be probably the best way to run the two of them. Obviously, we could always change Ristolainen's player type if we want to down the road, but it depends, I guess, how he simulates in the season. Like, if he's scoring more goals than assists, we know they keep him either like a sniper or a power forward. If he's picking up a lot more assists and goals, maybe we want to make him into a playmaker if we can. So that might be something we lean towards doing. But yeah, so basically this is what our team looks like right now. We also have Pavel Malkin on this third line, who also has low 6 potential. So a lot of guys with some potential, but I don't know if any of these low 6s are going to end up being anything huge for our team unless they get good growth. Also on the defensive side of things, I'm excited for Kai Norena. He is an offensive defenseman. I think he could definitely help us out a lot with the offense in the back end. Considering Trevelyan had like 20-something points last year, I think Norena could definitely do that this season. We also do have Joaquin David, and we also do have, I think there was another guy, right? Or maybe there wasn't. Oh yeah, it was Emiliano Del Colli, who is now our starter with the Tower as the backup goaltender. So we do have a decent amount of prospects in each position, which is nice. Hopefully we continue to develop quite well, and hopefully we have an interesting season ahead where maybe we get another first overall pick or something like that, because having back-to-back first overall picks will be nice, but in the long run it might hurt us in terms of the salary cap. But I think early on it's okay, but obviously once we get into that territory where we already have like multiple medium elite players, obviously if we run into getting a franchise player too, we're probably going to run into cap problems down the road. So hopefully that isn't something that happens too frequently, that we actually win the draft lottery, because or else we're paying like probably $15 million plus to all of our top guys at some point in time. But anyways, let's get in your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we will do some season goals and all that set up for the next for this year number 2, and then we'll start simulating and get through another year here in Albuquerque. So the first comment is from Derek Kapinski, who says, Parks is just getting into that New Mexico spirit with his red laces. Red or green is the state question. They'll ask you that at every restaurant, so they'll know what kind of chili to put on your food. That's interesting. I never had green chili, I don't think, before in my life. I've had chili with like kidney beans and all that. I don't think I've ever had a green chili before though. So if I ever go to New Mexico at some point, maybe I'll have to try that out, or maybe I'll have to just get my mom to make some green chili for something change. Like, what's the difference with green chili? Like, is it just the beans that they put into it, or what? Like, I'm kind of curious on that. And how does it taste compared to the normal chili? The next comment is from Big T, who says, you know what? That looks like my Uncle Jack. And I think he's talking about probably Trevelyan, because we were looking at player faces at the end of last episode. And Trevelyan is probably one of those characters that is maybe a side character in like a TV show, or maybe he's like, I don't know, a villain, because he just looks very, very weird. If we go to his face once it loads up. Actually, was it Trevelyan? Yeah, it was. Okay. You can see right now he looks like this, which is pretty normal in terms of the long hair. But he also does have a mustache, which looks absolutely ridiculous when you put it all together. So, Big T, if that's the one you're talking about that looks like your Uncle Jack, I could definitely see it looking like a guy that's named Jack, and that's an uncle. But yeah, hopefully a big year for Trevelyan. Again, like I said, he had a pretty good year last year, so I'm hoping that he can build off that a bit. Maybe Kai Norena takes a bit too much points away from him, I don't know, but he has obviously lower potential, so we're hoping for better stuff from Norena probably than Trevelyan. And the last and final comment is from Dusty Wall, who says, try changing Ristolainen to a playmaker in the future. He has decent puck skills and his faceoffs look good too. And yeah, like I was mentioning early in this episode, it really depends on how he simulates, because if he simulates like obviously a goal scorer, we don't really want to move him over to a playmaker. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of production he puts up this season. So there is that. I think we're going to do our goals now. So if I talk to the coach, I don't think I did these goals in last episode, if I remember right. Let's talk about the game plan. So, oh, actually, wait. Actually, did I talk to him in last episode? Yeah, I must have talked to him because, yeah, with the preferred lines and stuff like that, we can't do yet. So, yeah, I must have actually did talk to him in last episode. I honestly don't remember because I get my Islanders series confused a little bit here early on. So, did I give season goals to these guys? I don't think so. So let's give out some season goals to our prospects. So starting off with Stelwitz. Let's go with his season goal. And we'll go long-term just because we always like the long-term goals here. And we'll try a stat challenge because I don't think he's going to win an award this season. And I don't really care about giving X-Factor awards yet. Maybe I'll give one at some point. But right now, let's just try and get him to achieve a certain amount of goals. 30 goals I feel like is a lot considering he only had 40-something points last season, but now that he has a playmaker next to him, maybe he could reach that. So yeah, we're going to just try and keep on giving him goals for his goal, and we'll see if he ends up reaching it at some point. If he doesn't even come close, that's okay, but it's all about like the learning progress for some of these young guys, because if they actually achieve it, then we'll be really impressed. Ristolainen is an interesting one because like we don't know his production style. Like I said, we don't know if he's a playmaker. We don't know if he's more of a goal scoring forward, if he's going to throw a lot of hits. Well, he's definitely going to stay on the NHL roster the entire season. We know that. So I could always manipulate that. But let's go to stat challenge here. Trying to think of what I want to give him. Let's give him an assist goal, maybe just because he's down the middle. I could give him a face-off goal, but I don't know if that... Actually, maybe a face-off goal wouldn't be a bad idea. Win 50% of his face-offs. I think he could achieve that with his face-off rating, maybe. You know what? Let's give him a face-off goal. I think that's a decent one to give to him just because he is a good centerman. So that way we're not putting too much pressure on his point production in his first season. I think that's a good thing. Trevelyan, we know he picked up over 20 assists last season, so I think we'll give him that again as a goal. And I think that could help out a lot. So we will go with assist, at least 20 assists. Do it again, man, and we'll be really happy with that. I know it's going to take a while just to get everybody that we drafted a goal, but might as well do it. Might as well do it. So Kiner Reina, I think he could pick up a lot of assists as well this season just because he's an offensive defenseman. So I'm also going to probably give him the exact same goal as Trevelyan. So let's 30 assists. Wow. Maybe it's because of his player type, because he is a lower overall, which is interesting. It's got to be based on player type then. Because if a two-way defenseman says 20 assists, an offensive defenseman says 30 assists, then a DFD probably says something like 10 assists or something like that when you do this. So, yeah, I think assists would be good for him. So we'll see if he can reach 30 assists. If he comes close to that, I would be really impressed. Just because, like I said, he's not the greatest potential, but he is an offensive defenseman. So... Bogosian, since he's a playmaker, we are also probably going to give him a goal of passing, since he should be able to set up Stelwitz for some goals here. But yeah, I'm excited to see if any of these guys actually achieve their goals. That'd be awesome, because if some of these guys get some big boosts and they're only like low 6 potential, that could help out a lot. It very much can. 30 assists as well for him, sure. We'll try it. Maybe because he's a playmaker, that's why it's saying 30 assists. I feel like if it was a different player type, maybe it'd say less. Because obviously some of these guys are really low potentials, so or low overalls, so they shouldn't really necessarily be able to achieve a lot of these goals, but we're just trying to see if we could get guys to outgrow their potentials a bit with this goal system. So Parks, I don't remember how good Parks' stats was last year. Maybe we should take a look at that, because he is a DFD. He was a pretty good in terms of bringing offense, but I don't think he's going to do that again this season. I do want to take a look at his attributes here, so maybe we could give him like a shot blocking related one, considering he is a DFD. Let's see, how's his shot blocking here? Where is his shot blocking? I don't remember. Oh, there it is, 78. You know what? We'll give him a shot blocking goal. I think that's a good one for him. Very much so. I think he could easily reach whatever block shots it recommends. Maybe it's based on attributes too. The goals, I'm not too exactly sure. So, yeah, let's give him a shot block goal. So we'll go stat challenge. How much shot blocks? Let's see. 1 per shot per game this season or 2 shots per game. I'm going to say 1 shot just because I don't really think he could get over 100 plus blocks this season. But if he does, obviously we know to give him the other one going forward. So let's see if he can block some shots this season. Become a good kind of shutdown defenseman for us for this early stages. And we have 2 more people that I want to worry. Actually, 3 more people to worry about. Dean Perron, Emmanuel Delcoli, and Noonan. There's actually Pavelski too, damn. And then we also have the Tower down here too. And Malkin. And Walking David. Jeez, there's a lot of guys to give actual goals to. I don't know if I'll give them to everybody. Some of them I don't think will reach anything. So maybe the rest of these guys I could keep the same. Yeah, you know what? The rest of these guys I don't think I'll give any goals to. Maybe I'll do one to Delcoli. But I don't know if he'll be able to reach it. What's the goalie goals listed here? Probably not very good. I don't think it's worth giving a goalie a goal rate this season. Because more than likely we're going to have really bad stats. Oh, I put that we want him to challenge for the #1 job. Well, he's already got the #1 job, so that's interesting. All right, so I think we're pretty much good on goals. I could give more people goals, but I think we're just going to try this at least for the season and see how those guys develop. So I think we're actually ready to finally get into simulating here. Yeah, I think we're ready to. All right, let's get to the calendar. And let's see what we could do here in year number 2. We'll get through the preseason, just to take a look at who leads us in points after the preseason. And then we'll get finally into the actual season itself. So we have 8 games this preseason again. I don't expect us to really do that well still in the preseason, but you never know. Hey, we did score 6 goals against the Blackhawks. That's pretty impressive. But it is a preseason game after all. Yeah, we're still getting smoked in the preseason too. 0-8. Who led us in points in the preseason? Anybody that I wasn't expecting? Ristolainen had 9 points in the preseason. That's pretty good for 8 games that we didn't really pick up a lot of points. So 9 points. So maybe he's going to have a really good rookie year based on that. I like to see that. Walking David had actually 6 assists. If I remove my face for a second, you can see Ristolainen led in 4 points. Walking David in defensive points. Kari Ristolainen picked up 5 goals and 4 assists, so he might be more of a goal scorer than a setup guy. Stubwitz had 7 assists, so he was playing well with Ristolainen, potentially on the power play. And then obviously Ristolainen rookie points. Emmanuel Delcoli, no wins, but I would say that's a successful preseason for our team. I like it. Now, the real question is this team going to be able to find a way to win its first game in franchise history this season yet? Or are we going to have to wait a few more years still? So let's go to the calendar again here and get through the... Let's go to the end of each month individually, just in case we get our first win in franchise history, so that way we could go back to it and kind of see who scored in that game. So let's go through our first month of action, see how we do in it. Probably not too good, but who knows? Maybe there could be a point early on in the season again. Because last season we got only 1 point, and that was in an OT loss against the Cup-winning Florida Panthers. So I'm hoping that we could do something decent this season. But obviously, it's going to take a while to develop still. We do still have injuries on, but I'm hoping that obviously nobody important gets injured, or else maybe I would want to turn down the injuries just for our team, per se. Wow, we got shut out in 3 straight games. That's not very good for the offense, especially. 0-9 to start the season. Okay. We have scored 4 goals, though, in 2 of our games, though, so at least the offense seems to be okay in those games, but obviously getting shut out in 3 straight games, we are definitely still well under point per game in terms of our player stats, but let's go another month. And yeah, we'll take it a little bit slow this season just for some extra fun. 4-1 loss there. Can we find a way to get a win this season? 14-2 loss to the Habs of all teams. Jesus. Yeah, this is going to be another rough year based on some of these stat lines, but it is what it is. As long as we can kind of do what we did last season, I'm happy, because these early stages, obviously, we're going to get good prospects. Apparently, it's a good year for rookies, so that's a good thing to see. I don't remember if I looked at the draft class in the last episode or not, but hopefully it's a good draft for us for sure. Damn, yeah, we're still potentially going to lose every game this season again. Just funny. Okay, and 7-1 loss to the Sharks of all teams, too. 0-23 to start the year. All right. Probably at the halfway point, we'll take a look and see who's leading us in points at that stage. We weren't going to go super in depth with player stats, but I'm curious on the stat leaders on our team. We'll definitely take a look at that at January 1st. Let's go through another month, see if we can find a way to get any more points. Because obviously having 1 point last season, I kind of want to do it at least again. Because they're also kind of trending backward a little bit in a way, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. Wow, we've been shut out in a lot of our games. I am kind of worried that our offense is going to be worse than last season based on a few of these stat lines. Because we're barely scoring any goals a game. Like, we only have 3 goals in our first 7 games of the month. Yeah, that's not good, especially for those player goals that we want to achieve this season. So, hopefully some of those guys start to wake up a little bit here, because or else it is probably not going to be a single goal that we achieve this season, my guess. Because it's been a rough time for a lot of these players on the team at the moment, it seems like. In our final game of the month, 6-0 loss. Damn, we've been shut out so many times this year. 0-37. We are 35 points back of the Dallas Stars, who are in 8th place in this division, okay? But that's kind of crazy. Like, look at this month, though. We scored 1 goal there, 2 goals, 3 goals, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 goals in a month. Only 15 goals, and that's within a 14-game span. I think we just scored over a goal a game during that span, just because of this, 3-goal game that we had there. That's insane. All right, so 0-37. Let's go through a few more games so we're at the exact halfway point of the season, and then we'll take a look at some team leaders at the moment. So if we go through these 4 games, we should be at the exact halfway spot. And we could see if any of our guys are getting close to the goals. Oh, no. Josiah Staubitz has been injured with a upper body injury. He's out till January 14th, so it's not super long term. But that does suck, because obviously he's one of our prospects that we gave a goal to. Maybe I should turn off injuries at this point, and we can put them back on, or once we actually have a full-on roster or something. I don't even know. Let's take a look at our team leaders. So I will remove my face so you guys can see the team leaders and our team stats. So we're scoring right now 1.24 goals per game. We're only allowing 6.98. So even though we technically are having a worse start to this season than last season, our goals against per game is much more improved, I think, than last year. Because last year, if I'm not mistaken, it was over 8 goals per game we are allowing. Obviously, it could be really bad in the second half, but I think we're definitely being a better defensive team than we were. Our goals for per game is pretty similar, I think, to last season. We do not have the worst power play in the league. Our power play is currently at 26th, so we are above 6 other teams, or 7 other teams? I guess 7, because it's 33 teams. Our penalty kills in dead last. And currently, Staubitz has 20 points at this point in the season. All right. And then if we head on over to these stats, you can see that, so Staubitz has the 20 points. Trevelyan has 12 points, and that's leading the defense. So I guess, what's his name? That defenseman that we drafted. I honestly can't remember now for some weird reason. Kai Narena. Yeah. Narena hasn't picked up that much points this season, it seems like. Staubitz is only on 7 goals, so I don't think he's going to hit that 30-goal plateau. Ristolainen's on 20 assists, or 14 assists, so he could hit 20 assists, but we didn't give them as a goal. We gave him as a face-off one, so that'll be interesting to see if he achieves it. He has also got 18 points, so he's almost up there as the team leader at the moment. And then in terms of the entire league, if you wanted to take a look at this right now, Barkov is leading with 74 points exactly halfway through the season. Crazy. All right, so those are the halfway point stats. I guess we'll continue to simulate. But, yeah, so far I don't think a lot of players on our team are going to reach those goals that we achieved or sent for them. But that's okay. Sometimes you got to set your goals for the moon and hope that you eventually achieve them. So we should be able to get those, though, I'd assume, once this team actually starts winning games. Oh, my goodness. Speaking of winning games, let me just go to edit games. With Staubitz out of the lineup, we just got our first win in franchise history. We have just gotten our first win in franchise history. Of course, after I was just mentioning about wins and stuff. Let me stop the sim. A 4-3 shootout win over the Habs is the first win for Albuquerque, and it was on home ice. A shootout win. We got to definitely take a look at the box score on that. So Staubitz wasn't in the lineup yet. We still won. That's very awesome. Well, I wasn't expecting all of a sudden to get a win, and now we've had a better season than last year already because of that. Let's friggin' go. Let's freaking go. We lost to the Habs earlier this season, though, by a score of like 7-1. So to beat them in a shootout is very, very nice. Let's take a look. Where is this box score? There it is. Our first ever win in franchise history. 4-3 the shots in this game. 52-22 for the Habs. Let me remove my face so you guys can actually see that. We got completely outplayed, so we cheesed them in that one. Face-offs were in their favor. Not by that much, to be honest. Okay. And then we take a look at the box score. This is where it's going to be interesting. So Kai Norena opened the scoring with his third goal of his season and of his career. Then we had a goal from one of the guys that's just filler on our roster, so he doesn't matter too much. Joaquin David picked up an assist on that goal, though, which is nice. That guy then picks up his second goal of the night from Joaquin David and Noonan, so two prospects there getting assists. But Bernie, the guy to fill out a roster, doing well in this game, apparently. But they had 3 straight goals in that third period, so that's a little bit of a collapse. But that is all right. And then the shootout winner, though, was from Trevelyan, of course. After we looked at his amazing facial hair and head hair, he gets the shootout winner. So he was the only one to score in that shootout. So there we go. That's our first win in franchise history. The 3 stars in that one. Bernie Dalcoli had a really good game, though. Like, why is a 59 overall goalie having that great of a game? That's insane. And then David, the 3rd star with 2 assists. So shout out to Dalcoli and David. I don't care too much about Bernie, but he's a good little filler player, I guess. But that was our first ever win in franchise history. So shout out to the team. Trevelyan with the winner in that one. Let's continue to simulate. That's awesome. Finally getting on the win department. Let's go. It only took a total, I guess, of 82 plus 43. So that's like 125 games to get our first win, I guess. That's funny. Let's continue to simulate, though, and see if we could get any more wins this season. Probably not, but never know. Never know. And that's kind of crazy that it was without Staubitz, though, too. Considering Staubitz is obviously one of our best players, or is our best player potentially at the moment. All right, a couple more games left this month. 9-3 loss to Pittsburgh. Game against Columbus coming up in Columbus. I don't care too much about the AHL. 6-3 loss. Hey, we're still scoring some goals at least in some of these games. 9-2 loss to Utah. 1-48 on the season. Let's go to a day before the actual trade deadline. Still a lot of games left this season to play through, so maybe we could find a way to get another win this season potentially. 9-0. Wow, the AHL is getting slapped with injuries this season. And another NHL injury, this one to Joaquin David, one of our other prospects. That kind of sucks. Another upper body injury. At least he's not out too long term, but I don't like it when my prospects get injured at all, man. Buffalo fires their head coach, okay. Game against Ottawa is a 5-1 loss as Joaquin David has returned. It looks like we, oh my goodness, Ristolainen, what the hell? Okay. Did Ristolainen not have any X factors to start the season, or am I just blind? I don't think he had any X factors. He might have just generated 4 X factors throughout this season, and he's up to an 87 already. Damn, man. All right. Well, that's good. We are getting some growth from our prospects. Obviously, we'll take a look at that more at the end of the season, but that's good to see that he's developing as fast as he is. But obviously, this team is going to be bad still for 5+ seasons at least in his career. Are we going to get any more points in this season other than that one win over the Habs? And will the Habs end up winning the Stanley Cup just because of the fact that we beat them? That'd be interesting. Yeah, we're definitely still struggling a lot this season, but it's good learning progress for this team. I'm excited to see the player growth. And, of course, another prospect gets injured. That's Trevor Noonan out with a neck strain. He will not be back till March 11th, so it is a little bit longer term, like 2-3 weeks. So let's go replace player for the time being. Game against LA is 6-0 loss as well. And we lose 8-4 to the Flames. That is still nice to score 4 goals in a game, because that is probably more than the usual. Let's go to a day past the deadline, and then we'll look at the AI trades that happened at the trade deadline, even though I don't care too much about that in this GM as much as my other GMs. We'll take a look and see if there's any blockbuster trades for 2025-26. Anything that we weren't really expecting to see. So let's hop on over to that. And if we go down to activity feed, Let's see if we look at player pick and trading here. So anything interesting. Boone Jenner goes to Nashville. Ryan Donato to Calgary. Jamie Benn to the Sharks from Columbus. I didn't even realize Jamie Benn was on Columbus to start this. Apparently, I guess he must have signed in free agency with them. Or he got dealt from Dallas. Ryan McLeod and Jacob Bryson going to Nashville from Buffalo. Anybody else? Brandon Saad to Calgary. A lot of prospects getting moved. Colorado got Logan Mailloux for Oscar Olsen. That's an interesting one. Seattle's got Gabriel Dag from San Jose for Adam Larson. That's a little bit of a weird one. San Jose shouldn't be good at this stage, and they're basically making themselves even better bringing in Adam Larson on defense, but they give up an elite goalie prospect in Gabriel Dag. I know Gabriel Dag usually does really well in franchise mode, so that trade might come back to bite the Sharks completely. Blueger and Bortuzzo to Winnipeg. Okay. Wow, Braden Yeager went to Anaheim from the Jets. That's crazy. So some big prospects getting moved out. Radko Gudas going to Calgary. Okay, that's interesting. Kumpalainen, doesn't matter. Okay. I wouldn't say anything crazy, but that is the trade deadline for 25-26. Also, you can see our team leader in points right now is Ristolainen with 30 points on the season. Also, our power play has dropped down to dead last. It wasn't dead last not too long ago, but it must not be doing it as good as it was early in the season, so that kind of sucks. But let's continue to simulate the rest of year 2, and when we'll take a look at our player stats, our team stats, and then obviously we'll find out where we're drafting and all that too. I'm excited to see what this draft class is looking like if I haven't taken a look at it yet. I don't remember if I did last episode or not. I don't know why I can't remember, but I don't remember. Let's continue to simulate here. Let's go us, and we gotta get Maki, whatever his name is, Daniel. We gotta get Daniel back out for Noonan. Was there any other prospects that need to come back in? No. Yeah, okay, that should be fine. That should be fine. Just want to make sure our right prospects are in the lineup at least. Okay, continuing to simulate. We're only scoring 1 goal a game again. Our offense has been dreadful in this season. I feel like it's worse than last year, but I don't remember what it was scoring last year. Game against Detroit. We've literally only scored 1 goal in each of our last few starts. Is Bogosian has been injured. That's not good. That's another prospect, and it is a pulled groin. Yeah, our prospects are still getting injured like crazy, which is not what I want to see, but it is what it is. Game against Minnesota, 4-1 loss. Yeah, I feel like this 1 win in the season that we have is going to be our only point that we get. We lose to Montreal 9-2 after we beat them before. That's kind of funny. Game against Boston coming up, as Bogosian is back for this game, which is good. So we'll get him in and take out this monkey guy. Is that how you pronounce it? Monkey? Willy Monkey? Because that just sounds weird. It's literally like the animal. Wow, Ristolainen dropped back down to an 84. That's not great. I don't know if it's just act growth or what, but are we going to find a way to get any more points this season? We have 5 more games. Let's see if we could get any more points this season, or is that 1 win going to be our only one? Game against Pittsburgh, 6-1 loss. Game against Columbus is a 6-4 loss. I mean, that's good offense at least. Game against Utah, 7-1 loss. Game against the Islanders, and then we have Chicago as well. 13-3 and 7-4. We finished 1-81, which is an improvement from last season, but not by much. Not by much, okay. That's interesting. So now we could actually take a look at our player stats for the season. And okay, there's some interesting stats I could see on the bottom. Our point leaders, but obviously I'm not going to try and look at that too much right now because I do want to just go to our team stats in general here. Where is this? Okay, right here. I always forget where this stuff is already still. In terms of the standings, let's see. Entire league, obviously we're going to be dead last. Yeah, by a long shot, by 65 points. The Buffalo Sabres are not doing too well. That's kind of interesting. Goals for per game. Yeah, we're definitely still the worst offensive team. 1.39 goals for per game. That is actually an improvement from last year, if I remember right. Because last year, I think we were scoring. I think I scored 89 goals in 82 games, if I remember right now. So we scored a lot more goals, which is good. But obviously, it's still not that good. Goals against per game definitely improved. It used to be over 8, I'm pretty sure. Now it's down to 6.91. So despite us not having much of an improvement, there is improvement in these underlying stats, which is nice. Power play percentage, we are dead last, is about 11.3%. The Red Wings, who made the playoffs, were just a bit better than us, which is kind of interesting. So our power play was good at one point. It was 26, but then it dropped off a cliff. And our penalty kill was dead last, still 67.1. The next closest, 78.9. We actually scored a short-handed goal this season. I wonder who scored it. And in 1-40 on home ice, 0-41 on the road. All right. Now comes the fun part, the player stats for the season. So we'll start off with our centers. So starting off with the centers, the rookie, Kari Ristolainen. I don't know if he had those X factors literally to start the season, but 11 goals, 28 assists, 39 points. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Minus 120 isn't really that bad either compared to some of the guys last season. So that's a successful season from Ristolainen. And then you also have Jameson Bogosian on 18 points. Not bad. Obviously, Ristolainen should be probably the first line center though, but Bogosian was pretty good. We could always maybe turn Ristolainen into a playmaker if we want to, or try and get him to. Yeah, those passing stats are really good, like you guys were mentioning. There's a chance. We'll see. Obviously, it's kind of a risky thing to try and persuade him to change over, but interesting. Okay. What I wanted to take a look at though for Ristolainen, he had 13 power play points. That's actually pretty nice. I want to take. Oh yes, the face-off percentage. He was actually able to achieve that goal that we set. We wanted 50%. He gave us 56.5. That is really, really good, especially for a rookie. And then he had 179 hits, so he could easily hit like goals for hits if we want to. He definitely plays like a power forward with the amount of hits though, so maybe not a playmaker. And then he also had more takeaways than giveaways, so he could actually play as a two-way forward too. He could play as a lot of different player types. He had 4 fights in his rookie season too, so shout out to Kari Ristolainen, who's already making a name for himself. And how did Bogosian do on faceoffs? I didn't take a look at that. 46%. Yeah, I don't know if he's ever going to be a really good faceoff type of guy, because he's only got 67 on that faceoff stat. Left wingers, we have Trevor Noonan, 13 points in his first season. Not too bad. Not too bad. 6 goals, 7 assists. 96 penalty minutes. He is definitely more of a grinder, I would say. He is a two-way, though. How much fights? For fun. 16 fights? Jeez. Okay, I was not expecting 16 fights and less than 100 PIMs. So 16 times 5 is what? Because that's most of his penalty minutes have literally been fights, I guess. What is 16 times 5? Because I cannot do the math. 80. So 80 of his 96 penalty minutes were fights, and then 16 were just regular penalties. Wow. Impressive. Impressive to say the least. Okay. Nobody else is important over there. Right wing side of things, Josiah Stowitz had 48 points this season. That's pretty good. That's kind of what I want to see from Stowitz. He didn't achieve the goal of 30 goals, but he did get 14, which if we look compared to last season, is an improvement. His goal scoring went down a little bit, but he did miss a bit more games, so pretty much around the same. His assist holes went way up. His points went up by 7. Way better plus minus, more penalty minutes. Not bad. Not bad at all. So there's Stowitz. We also have Pavel Malkin. 17 points as a third liner. I'd definitely take that. Dean Perron was on the second line and had the same amount of points. Not bad. Not bad at all for Pavel Malkin. I will definitely take that. And Dean Perron is definitely not doing as much as he... Well, how much did he do last year? Actually, he did basically improve from last year. A little bit better plus minus as well, so... I think there definitely was actually some good stuff from some of those guys that came back for their second season. Defensively, this should be interesting. Matt Trevlian, 33 points. He does achieve the 20 assist goal that we gave him, I think, which is awesome. So back-to-back years with 20-plus assists. He's also improving. And he had our only short-handed goal, which is kind of funny that it came from a defenseman of all things. But, yeah, Matt Trevlian's not bad. He is not bad at all. Up to 67 at 20 years old, too. And we have Kainer Reina on 24 points. He did not reach the 30 assists, but 19 assists in your rookie season. I can't really complain too much. He's up to a 65. Yeah, that's not bad. Not too bad. Game logs, let me take a look at this. He picked up an assist in our last game. All right. Played pretty good in the last few games. -6 in a game. What was his worst plus minus in the game just because he's an offensive defenseman? -6, okay. He had a couple of games in the preseason where he was plus, in one regular season game, and it was game 69 where he was actually plus. So I'm kind of surprised that he was plus in that game, but he was. Walking David, 14 points. Not too bad. Another offensive defenseman. Not much potential, but still, that's not too bad for point production. Spike Parks definitely dropped off in point production quite a bit this year. 12 points only. Much better plus minus, though, so I'll definitely take the better defensive play. How is his block shots? Because I did give him that as a goal. He had 191 blocks, which is equivalent to how much blocks per game? Because I am curious if he would have actually been able to get the 2 blocks a game thing. So if we divide that by 82, that's over 2 blocks a game. So we know that we could give Spike Parks that the highest up shot blocking goal, and he actually could achieve it. So that's something we might look towards doing next season if he's not in the lineup, or if he is in the lineup. Pavelski had 10 points, only a minus 80. That's not bad at all. I mean, he is playing top 6 minutes, but still much better plus minus this year, and relatively same production too. So I am impressed with some of the defenders for sure. Goaltending-wise, Emiliano Del Colli picked up our first win in franchise history, as he should, because he's our best overall goalie. An .846 save percentage and a 6.82 goals against average. Definitely an improvement from last season for this team, I'd say. And then Ryan Tamelin, 0-28, 42 games played, an .849 save percentage. So the Tower actually did really well compared to last year, too. His save percentage was better than Del Colli's. His goals against average, not much worse. So both goalies were pretty similar in that sense. Did any of them have any assists this season? Del Colli picked up an assist. The first goalie with a point on this team. Nice. But Tamelin's numbers definitely improved this season by a long shot. Wait, wait a second. 849 it says there, but then it says here an 850. I don't know why it does that, but okay. You can definitely see, though, he improved in save percentage and in goals against. Obviously, we're a better defensive team than we were before, but the Tower is improving in terms of that. He is up to a 58. He was a 55, I believe, to start. So there is all that. Let's take a look at stats briefly around the league as well for fun. So in terms of the entire league, Alexander Barkov led with 132 points. Matthew Tkachuk up there. Florida was killer, apparently, again this season, as they should be, I guess. Best goal scorer this season was McKinnon with 67. One of only 2 60 goal scorers this season. Best defenseman in terms of points was Quinn Hughes with 103. So big year for Quinn Hughes in Vancouver. Best goalie this season. Vasilevsky in terms of wins with 46, him and Demko. Most shutouts by a starter was Kemper, Skinner, and Bobrovsky, and Swayman with 5. Best save percentage by a starter. Wow, shout out to Clay Stevenson with a 973 in one game. But that's going to be Stuart Skinner with a 917. All right. Goals against average by a starter is going to be Thatcher Demko, though, with a 2.59. I think Demko is definitely a Vezina winner. Easily said. Any goalie goals this season for fun? No. Most assists. Oh my goodness, the screen kind of lags a bit. 5 assists from Demko. All right. Best rookie in terms of points was Cutter Gauthier at 59. Damn. And then you had Lakir Mackey with 52. Nazar and Ristolainen finished 4th in rookie points. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right. So there is the stats for the season. Now the question is obviously the retirements, the awards, all that stuff. Let's wrap up the season and see what ends up happening. Hopefully we end up winning a draft lottery, though, because that is obviously one of the important things here early in this franchise mode, is to get some good players. So let's simulate to draft and find out who wins the Stanley Cup in 2026. Last year was Florida beating Edmonton again, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was. Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure. So we'll see what ends up happening in 25-26. Obviously, Florida looked like they had another good year because of Barkov and all that being up there in points. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of them is up, if the Florida Panthers win again. Will they win the Stanley Cup in 25-26? Let's actually stop the simulation for a second just so we can see who's in the finals. Looks like maybe no games for today, so I can't even tell. Oh, we're still in the conference finals, it looks like, at the moment. So we'll continue to simulate who is going to be in the Stanley Cup finals this year. Oh my goodness, my voice is just dying. Colorado. the Stanley Cup champions in 2026. So they win another Stanley Cup. Providence wins the AHL. So let's stop the simulation and take a look at those awards. So if we go up here to player stats and go to awards, let's see what we got here. So Colorado, the Stanley Cup champions, first time since 2022. Tampa Bay winning the President's Trophy. All right. And then it was a Colorado-Florida Cup final. So Florida's been in 4 straight Stanley Cup finals. That's actually kind of insane. They've won 2, they've lost 2. So there is that. Individual awards, Barkov, the Art Ross. Also the Hart. Sorry about that, there's like a siren in the background. Quinn Hughes, the Norris. Nikita Kucherov, the Lady Byng. Cutter Gauthier, the Calder. Nathan McKinnon won the Conn Smythe. Nice. Demko, the Vezina. Stuart Skinner, the Jennings winner. And then there's another award for Spike Parks. Oh, man. Spike Parks is going to be one of these weird players in this franchise mode because he's got 2 awards now in his career. Both of them Bill Masterton's just because of the plus-minus. But Spike Parks has a lot of hardware more than anybody else on this team at the moment. That's funny. Seattle's coach, the Jack Adams. Crosby wins the Selke. Barkov, the Lindsay. And McKinnon, the Richard. AHL awards. Any awards for AHL team? Not that it matters, really. No. All right. So there is the awards for 2026. Let's take a look at where we're drafting this season and all the retirements. Where are we going to be drafting for 2026? Is it going to be first overall again? No, it's not. We fall from 1 to 3. Minnesota will win the draft lottery, jumping from 9 to 1 now. There better not be somebody like crazy good that's supposed to go first overall, but I do like having third overall selection because maybe that gives us somebody that is generated. But hopefully there's no franchise player that's supposed to go first overall. So, yeah, there's the draft lottery results anyways. Retirements for 2026. Any big retirements? Not that I really care too much about retirements. Lucic, Bonino, Hamonic. Kind of a lower end retirement class compared to prior seasons, I guess. So, there's that. Goalies. Keith Kincaid's the best goalie to retire. So, yeah, just not a huge retirement class this year. All right, coach retirements. We did lose Russ Forrest, who was one of our coaches, apparently. I don't know which coach he was of ours. I don't think he was our head coach, but that's an interesting one. And no, but actually, Lionel Smaby from our AHL team. So we did lose a couple coaches. Glenn Denning and Rui Dole are now scouts. That's kind of interesting. I don't think I've seen them as scouts before. And now we got to take a look at this draft class. We could do some draft interviews to end up this episode too. So, oh yeah, Gavin McKenna is supposed to go first overall. And they made him a medium franchise in this game. I didn't realize they made him a franchise. So, unfortunately, we are not going to get Gavin McKenna. So, no franchise player for us. He's going to go to Minnesota. But, since we have third overall, we could grab ourselves a medium elite offensive defenseman in Bradley Tuzzolino. That's if he doesn't go earlier. But Tuzzolino, right-handed shot. I do like myself medium elite offensive defenseman. Obviously, I don't like DFDs, so I wouldn't take Robin Mueller. And then Schwarz or Shores, actually, yeah, Shores, I think it's pronounced, is a 2-way, it looks like. And yeah, these players aren't much different. I hope Tuzzolino's there at our third overall selection, and that Schwarz goes earlier. Definitely looks like a good draft, though, for the amount of elite prospects early on. Shout out to Joe Iginla, though. Is Joe Iginla actually real? I don't think he is. I feel like I saw in somebody else's franchise mode that there was a Joe Iginla. Is this another kid of Jerome's or no? I am really confused now. I gotta look that up. Because honestly, I don't know. I think he might be in, let's see, Iginla. Oh, there is a Joe Iginla. Okay, so Jerome actually does have another kid in the WHL. I didn't know about that. I did not know about that because I saw him in another franchise mode, so that's what made me think about it. But that's kind of funny. So shout out to Joe Iginla. I thought he was a generated guy with the name Joe, but interesting. Okay, so I definitely say Tuzzolino would be our first round selection. But is there anybody else intriguing in this draft class that we could take late in other rounds? Let's see. Looking for some crazy steals here. No. There might be a medium elite goalie in Salmonen. Ooh. Maybe he has some good ratings. I don't know if he's actually elite or not, but we'll pin him. Don't care about the real players too much. What about Lander? He's actually supposed to go first round, so never mind. Any low elites that we could pin? I'd love myself some low elites. Maybe Stanley Bates? Maybe Stanley Bates? So that's an interesting one. Ed Ryder. We'll pin him. Marcos Hillen. Playing for Rauman Lauko. Did Rauman Lauko update their look? Because it looks different. Those guys all could be low elites, but I don't know for sure. Tony Pitt. Shout out to Tony Pitt. What a name. We'll pin him as well. Huh. Yeah, I honestly don't know if I'm going to do any draft interviews, to be honest, though. But we might have found out some good stuff about this draft class at least, which is nice. There's some medium sixes supposed to go in the second round, though, like Stuart Dillon. So Stuart Dillon might be okay as a second round selection. Malachi Sidhu. All right. All right, so that is that for the draft class. Final few things we got to do to wrap up this episode, because we already had like 46 minutes, is taking a look at the... I guess the contracts won't end yet. We'll take a look at the progress reports to wrap up this episode. So let's see what we got here. So in terms of our centers, Ristolainen's up to an 86 overall, probably mostly... Actually, I was thinking mostly statistical, but a lot of it's natural. Does drop off statistically in stick checking, but a ton of natural growth. He is getting less physical, though, which is interesting in stat growth, but his natural growth is still going up. So Kari Ristolainen's looking like a beast. Looking like a beast, which is good. Then we have Jameson Bogosian up to a 65 overall at 19. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. And he is going up statistically a little bit, but also naturally too. So I like that. Those other guys don't matter. Left wing wise, Noonan's up to a 63. He's getting some growth. Mostly statistical for him, but some natural growth to his like defensive rating, which is kind of nice. All right, not bad. We head to the right wing side of things. Staubitz up to an 85, and he's getting a lot of statistical growth still. Yeah, Staubitz might actually not be as good as he looks. He has a lot of his growth the first 2 years has been statistical, but he is getting growth to like his passing and all that, which is interesting. So shout out to Staubitz. Dean Perron also getting a lot of growth up to a 64 at 20. He's getting a lot of natural growth. So it seems like right now Staubitz is the only one getting a lot of statistical. So there's that. Defensively, Trevelyan's up to a 69 at 20. This guy actually might be okay. A lot of statistical growth, some natural growth for him as well. Yeah, not bad. Not too bad. Narena's also up to a 69 at 19. Jeez, yeah, Narena actually might end up becoming a really solid player for us. His passing's up to an 81 now. Yeah. All right. His offensive awareness up to a 77. Still needs to get that higher, but a lot of natural growth and some statistical for him. So I'm liking both these defenders quite a bit. Parks is up to a 65. So Spike Parks is doing well. His shot blocking probably should improve likely, I would assume, just based on him reaching that goal. A lot of natural growth for him. And yep, that shot blocking went up by +5. Probably for all those shot blocks that he had, my guess, this season. Let's freaking go. Yeah, some of these guys are outgrowing their potentials a little bit, I think. Bryce Parks, up by 5 points. Not a lot of growth from him, but some of it to his offensive awareness, some to his defensive awareness. Not bad. And then Joaquin David went up by 13 points, up to a 59. A lot of natural growth, especially in the offensive awareness. That went up to a 75, which makes sense with his offensive production this year. And in terms of our goalies, Shipley, who was in the AHL this season, obviously he was our first ever goalie to pick up a point in a game. He actually had 7 wins in the AHL this year with a 9-10. That's actually really impressive. He's up to a 62 now, just like that, after 1 year in the AHL. I will definitely take that. And he got a lot of natural growth, so maybe the AHL is the right route for him for now. And then Tamerlan is up to a 61, so both those goalies looking pretty good at this stage. So Tamerlan's actually getting a lot of natural growth too. I like that. And then in the system, Dalcoli's up to a 60. So we do have a question who we run next season, because all these goalies are in their 60 overall range. Do we put Dalcoli back to the AHL for a year just like we did with Shipley? Or does Shipley stay in the AHL because he's older a little bit, and we run Tamerlan as the starter next year and Dalcoli's the backup? Because Dalcoli's also getting a lot of natural growth too. So that's pretty good. And I think that's probably it. Actually, there's also Malkin too, I think I wanted to look for, which might be in the AHL at the moment, because I don't think I saw him in the NHL. Let me just double check. Yeah, there he is. Up to a 57, 19-point growth, and most of it's natural. I like it. I like it a lot. So there is our prospect progress reports. Looking really positive, I would say. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will have the year number 2 draft. We'll obviously pick ourselves up probably that offensive defenseman, because that could definitely benefit us from getting more points on our back end and helping out the offensive core in general. And I think this season coming up, obviously, we're going to maybe start to win maybe more than one game, because I think this team is starting to come along. We're getting a lot of solid growth early on, which is good. And our players that are actually our better players, somebody like Ristolainen, they're actually producing well already. So I think once we actually start getting this team fully compact, like our bottom six is in stone, our defensive core is set up ready, I think we're going to start winning more than one game a season, which is pretty impressive. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.